Nicole Kidman, now 58 years old, has spoken out about the real reason she and Keith Urban divorced, and her admirers couldn't be more surprised. They were the epitome of Hollywood's golden pair for almost 20 years, a family based on love and commitment, and a fixture on the red carpet. Theirs was the unusual narrative that defied all expectations as seen by the Globe. Their marriage was already in trouble. But Nicole's comments have exposed a terrible truth that alters our perception of them irrevocably. This split involving a celebrity is unlike any other. The story is around sacrifice, resilience, and the moment Nicole realized that not even love could keep everything in place. People claims that Keith Urban's decision to move into his own home, a step that represented a distance much larger than kilometers, was a watershed moment. Give it a subscribe and a bell ring before we go into this emotional journey so you don't miss a moment of the biggest Hollywood stories. Let's find out why Nicole eventually left now. From the Hollywood fairy tale beginning, the story of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban seemed like it was straight out of a romantic comedy. But it wasn't. They crossed together in January 2005 at the G-Day USA Gala in Los Angeles, an event honoring Australian artists working abroad. Keith was making his way up the country music ladder when he crossed paths with Nicole, who was already a world-renowned actress and an Oscar winner. Later that night, Nicole said that she had an immediate attraction after their introduction. Still, it was unexpected that it took months before Keith contacted her. Although Nicole had formed a little crush on him, she admitted that she questioned if he wasn't interested. The turning point arrived at that particular second. Keith stood outside Nicole's New York apartment, bouquet of gardenias in hand, as she opened the door at 5 in the morning on her birthday in 2005. An unexpected demonstration of honesty, the gesture was modest yet powerful. According to Nicole, she was goner after that. Their romance blossomed and Keith proposed a year later. They tied the knot in a candlelit ceremony in Sydney on June 25, 2006, a union that combined elements of Australian tradition with Hollywood glitz. Pictures from the ceremony revealed a beaming couple, and many thought they had found the type of love that Hollywood stars rarely find. However, despite the joy of their marriage and early days as a married couple, difficulties were on the horizon that would put their commitment to one another to the test. In a few months following his "I do" statement, Keith checked himself into rehab to confront his long-term addiction. Nicole demonstrated her devotion early on by choosing to stand firmly by his side. The illusion of a fairy tale beginning was crumbling before our eyes, hinting to the inevitable conflicts that lay ahead. For Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, their marriage was about more than simply passion. It was about building a home full of love, family, and stability. Nicole was a mother to Isabella and Connor, whom she had adopted from Tom Cruise when they sealed the knot in 2006. Not only did she get a husband in Keith, but she also got the opportunity to start a family, something she had always wanted. Sunday Rose, the couple's first child, was born in 2008. Faith Margaret, their second daughter, was born in 2010, 2 years after that. Their home was chaotic, full of responsibility and full of life because they had 4 children between them. Despite the constant upheaval of Hollywood, Nicole said that being a mother was the one constant in her life. Keith expressed similar sentiments in interviews and on his music, which often included subliminal references to Nicole and their girls. Behind all the fame, there was real commitment, and fans could feel it. However, at the same time as their personal lives were flourishing, their professional lives were exploding. Some of Nicole's most demanding and satisfying roles to date were the ones she took on. Nicole demonstrated that she was a force to be reckoned with in the worlds of film and television with her performances in Rabbit Hole, for which she received yet another Oscar nomination, and Big Little Lies, for which she won Emmys and Golden Globes. In the interim, Keith ruled country music with #1 albums, sold-out concerts, and a slew of Grammy and CMA accolades. As a judge on American Idol, he became a TV icon, winning over viewers with his genuine charisma and honesty. The success that made them famous, though, was not without cost. Keith was always on the go with his tours, while Nicole frequently spent months away from home filming. By scheduling video calls and traveling great distances for brief reunions, they attempted to elevate family time to a religious ritual. However, the actual separation cast an enduring shadow. At some point, even the darkest corners of Hollywood become too much to bear. As far as the public was concerned, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban appeared unbreakable. Their loving glances and whispered exchanges, captured by cameras during their red carpet outings, became tabloid highlights radiating love. In interviews, Nicole frequently gushed about Keith, describing him as her deep, deep love, and Keith reciprocated the devotion with moving speeches and songs written specifically for Nicole. They seemed to represent the perfect Hollywood romance for a long time, complete with glitz and reality. But underneath the smooth exterior, fissures were starting to enlarge. Due to the demands of 2 international careers, being together was challenging. Keith's tours crossed continents, while Nicole frequently spent extended periods of time abroad for her projects. They said they always made time for family, so at first the pair just shrugged it off. However, spending time apart started to surpass spending time together. Nobody missed the alterations. Their devoted fan base began to notice little changes after becoming used to their open displays of adoration. Posts commemorating anniversaries on social media, which used to be lengthy and heartfelt memorials, are becoming shorter and less common. They vanished completely after a while. Listeners were agitated and worried when Keith suddenly cut off a question on Nicole during a live radio broadcast, leading them to believe that something was wrong with him. Hints of distancing started to emerge even on stage, where Keith had frequently woven their love story into his music. Nicole, on the other hand, seemed more reserved and silent after firmly supporting her husband through his troubles. The increasing quiet said a lot for a couple who had been so open about their love with the public. The public caught glimpses of the picture-perfect marriage at award ceremonies, but behind closed doors, the growing emotional distance was hard to conceal. Nicole began to wonder if her marriage, which had weathered fame, addiction, and separation, could withstand a more profound and agonizing split, the lack of connection itself. Updated breaking point. Word on the street was that Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were growing apart by the summer of 2025. There were reports that Nicole and their girls were left at the family house as Keith stealthily relocated into his own residence. For those on the outside looking in, it may have appeared like just another stage of career-driven separations, Keith on tour, Nicole on set, but their inner circle knew better. This was more than simply some space, it was a break from the marriage. Still determined to save what they had created, Nicole put more faith in her family. The security and closeness that had marked their best years together resurfaced in her search. Her close friends later recounted her confidence that the closeness they had once had might withstand another challenge. However, she encountered indifference rather than receptiveness to her attempts. The news reports indicated that Keith was already creating a new reality for himself, one that had nothing to do with his marriage. His action was deadly in symbolism. Living apart meant more than just that to Nicole. It was a statement about her values. Their nearly 20 years of common history, hardships, and victories could no longer bind them. When trust and unity had already begun to crumble, she started to understand that love, no matter how strong it had been, could not mend a partnership. The icing on the cake was Nicole's filing for divorce on September 30, 2025, following 19 years of marriage, alleging irreconcilable differences as the reason. Readers said that Keith's departure from the family home in early summer was the official beginning of the breakup. The well-known phrase irreconcilable differences was used in Nicole Kidman's divorce papers when she filed for them on September 30, 2025. Because of its simplicity and secrecy, this language is used in many Hollywood separations. However, those two sentences belied an almost 20-year history of struggles, victories, and visible cracks. Sunday 17 and Faith 14 were their kids, and their custody battle was key to the divorce. Because of Keith's work schedule, the couple will spend considerably less days together as parents, but Nicole, who has been the main caregiver for a long time, will still get most of the parenting time. Their long-term commitment to maintaining a healthy family dynamic was evident in the court documents detailing the separation as about 3 to 6 days with Nicole and 59 with Keith, as reported by People. On their own, they were financially solid. Nicole with her many award-winning parts and Keith with his sold-out concerts and Grammy victories. Both achieved amazing success. By opting out of spousal maintenance, they demonstrated their autonomy and sidestepped the contentious financial issues that frequently arise in celebrity divorces. Another layer was added by property division. Nashville, Sydney, Beverly Hills, and New York City mansions that had been symbols of common aspirations were now divided assets. While talks are still going on, one thing is becoming crystal clear: their lives, which were once deeply entwined, are now gradually becoming apart. Their new existence was laid out in the legal documents. Nicole would later confess that figures and paper could never portray the deeper reality, the truth about why she had ultimately decided to walk away. So, getting back to the point, Nicole's painful admission. In the weeks after she filed for a divorce, Nicole Kidman started to reveal the truth about what had gone wrong. Nicole confessed that there were deep, invisible cracks in her marriage that went unnoticed for a long time. But the public only saw the polished version of her marriage in interviews where she referred to Keith as her deep love, and in the photos of them holding hands at premieres and smiling together on stage. The overwhelming feeling of betrayal she had, stemming not from any one action but from the fact that decisions were made apart from her, was one of her most shocking shocks. Friends of Nicole's claim that she was caught unawares when Keith left. More than just a breakup, the choice broke the trust and communication that had sustained their partnership for almost 20 years. She said that the loneliness she felt as a result of the relationship was more significant than the physical separation. Furthermore, the word irreconcilable differences was given greater weight by Nicole than by the formal documents. Those disagreements weren't just theoretical to her. They cut to the heart of what it means to have a healthy marriage: mutual respect, emotional support, and a sense of security. She admitted that these were the bedrock upon which love rested. Anguish and relief washed over the woman who had supported Keith through his struggles with addiction and the constant scrutiny of the public eye. Nicole said that she gained the confidence to speak her mind at 58 years old, something she may have been afraid to do before. She had finally broken free from the chains of Hollywood perfection and was able to be herself. Her girl's security and her personal well-being took precedence. The story was reframed by her candor, which no longer depicted a failing marriage but rather a lady valuing honesty over pretense. Nicole's confession was neither accusatory nor resentful. The message was straightforward, rooted, and profoundly authentic. The truthfulness was even more upsetting to many than the divorce itself. Reflection: Nicole Kidman was forthright about more than just unfulfilled wants and damaged trust in her account of her divorce. Her readiness to accept responsibility for her part in the breakdown of her marriage was equally striking. Those close to her later revealed her private chats in which she acknowledged that no partnership is ever truly independent. Rather, each person in a relationship shapes its strengths and weaknesses. Instead than seeking retribution, Nicole sought understanding by considering her own decisions. She recounted instances when she may have been too distant from home due to the responsibilities of her job, or when she put her trust in her loyalty to the point that she neglected her own emotional needs. Looking back, she saw that keeping quiet to prevent conflict just postponed what was about to pass anyhow. She conceded that the resulting hush allowed animosity and estrangement to fester. The most important thing she learned from her introspection was that marriages aren't built on superficial qualities like perfection. They flourish when people are kind to one another, acknowledge one another's worth, and are prepared to talk even when it hurts to say the truth. The most painful thing for Nicole to admit was that she had downplayed her emotions on occasion, thinking that love would be sufficient to maintain their connection. Slowly but surely, she realized that even profound love can wither in the absence of honesty and reciprocity. There was an empowering undertone to her reflection as well. Rather than focusing on the idea of a perfect marriage, Nicole is instead prioritizing honesty, limits, and self-respect. According to her, divorce is only a turning point on the road to being yourself. By putting honesty first, she changed her story such that it no longer portrayed her as a broken woman but as someone open to change and improvement, even after almost 20 years of marriage. In fact, Nicole Kidman's divorce papers marked the start of a new chapter in her life, not its conclusion. She is at a crossroads and a strong point in her life at the age of 58. According to her closest associates, she has relied significantly on her sister Antonia, who has been her confidante for a long time throughout these difficult times. Her family continues to be her rock. Sunday and Faith, Nicole's girls, are her first priority. She is now focused on making sure they experience love and stability, despite the changes in their family structure. Nicole might have an equally interesting career trajectory ahead of her. She doesn't have much more to prove after decades of praise. According to insiders, she is now more likely to pick roles that reflect her values, such as those that emphasize authenticity, resilience, or personal growth. Just as her portrayal of complex, emotional people in Big Little Lies was informed by the realities she recently revealed about her own life, her next choices may mirror those same qualities. That means even more powerful, emotionally engaging performances for the audience. Also, people are wondering if Nicole will ever give an interview where she discusses her marriage more candidly. The impact will be greater than that of idle chatter if she does. In her own words, Nicole might further reshape her public image, revealing her not as a flawless star but as a lady who opted for honesty, qualities for which she has long been praised. Unexpected independence may accompany her professional and familial milestones at this time in her life. This renaissance in identity is a common result of divorce, particularly for those who go through the process later in life. What does that mean for Nicole? It could lead to new challenges, stronger relationships, or even new ways of thinking creatively. She is resolute in her refusal to let defeat define her. Rather, she will be remembered for her bravery in forging forth on her own terms, regardless of the road she chooses. While Nicole Kidman has approached this new chapter with candor and introspection, Keith Urban appears to have a much more hazy picture of what lies ahead. Keith has been unusually quiet regarding the divorce, opting instead to express himself through his music rather than interviews. After a marriage that shaped his public and private life came to an end, he has remained silent, leaving followers to wonder how he is coping. Keith is still going strong in his career. He is undeniably one of the most iconic figures in country music, with sold-out concerts and albums that continue to dominate the charts. Still, there have been many who have picked up on little changes in his performances. Songs that were formerly lighthearted odes to Nicole now have a darker, more reflective quality to them. The impact of the transformation in his life is palpable, whether or not that was his goal. Adjustment is difficult for Keith personally. His job as a father will need careful coordination, as he will have considerably less days with his girls due to custody arrangements. The man may feel let down by this decreased time because he has frequently said that his family is what keeps him grounded. People watch to see how he adjusts to juggling his worldwide profession with his desire to be there on Sundays and with Faith. His sobriety path is another unanswered question. Nicole was there for Keith when he needed her most, and Keith has been open in the past about his battles with addiction. Fans are forced to ponder how he will persist along that route without her. Despite the lack of proof of any problems, the worry serves to emphasize the seamless integration of his private and public life. Compared to Nicole's future, Keith's is currently more subdued. As she candidly reimagines her identity, he appears to be contemplating things in solitude. As a result of this contrast, the world witnesses two radically different approaches to the same conclusion, expressed musically and verbally, respectively. In conclusion, Nicole Kidman's confession at the age of 58 serves as a sobering reminder that no marriage is perfect and that unpleasant secrets might lurk beneath the surface. Overcoming addiction, celebrity, and distance, she and Keith Urban appeared to exemplify Hollywood's unique fairy tale for nearly 2 decades. Nicole ultimately decided to be herself rather than put on a show, recognizing the importance of trust and respect over keeping up appearances. Her story is about more than just sadness. It's also about overcoming adversity and finding the strength to finally express her mind after keeping quiet for so long. While all this is happening, Keith keeps to himself, using his music to convey the feelings he hasn't spoken about. Their narrative serves as a poignant reminder that purity of heart and genuine connection are essential for the survival of any relationship, including love.